Hi, and welcome back to lesson number 2. I'm going to ask you to start getting you a book of shadows that you can write your things down into these lessons that we're going to be teaching and what I hopefully that you'll be learning. And your book of shadows does not have to be an elaborate hardbound book of shadows. It can be whatever you want it to be. It is a journal of your magical steps that we will be taking together. It can be simply a loose leaf notebook with notebook paper in it. It can be a composition book. It can be any kind of binder or folder that you would like to have that you can record your notes in as we go on our journey. So I'm asking that you would please get you something that you can write your notes in, a book that you can keep them in for your own personal use. Back in the olden days, a witch would take and have her own personal book of shadows written in her own hand, because if she took and got a book of shadows written in somebody else's hand, then they could take and find the one that wrote it and accuse them of witchcraft and hang them. So a witch did not loan out her personal book of shadows. They took and let others take and borrow their book when they went to the Sabbats, and they could hand copy spells and other things that were in the witch's book of shadows, and they could make their own book of shadows. So basically, that is the same thing that we're going to be doing. I ask that you would bear with me because it seems like I'm coming down with a cold or something in my throat, and my throat is getting a little sore. You know, the last lesson that we learned about the Wiccan Rede. Okay, you can look it up online if you would like to copy it into your own book of shadows. But I ask you to be very careful about copying things, because we all know about infringement laws and we all know about copyright issues and stuff like this. So you have to be very careful of anything that has a little circle with an R in it. You know, you need to ask the owner's permission before you can copy it. Um, the other thing is, today we're going to be talking about, um, and it harm none, do what you will. Okay, on a piece of paper or anything that you want to write down on until you get your book of shadows, or in your book of shadows, I want you to think about, and it harm none. What does this really mean? And it harm none. Do what you will. Okay? When you're going to do a spell or you're sending out some energy of any type, ask yourself, is this going to harm anyone? Most witches believe, as I do, into the law of three. Anything you send out comes back to you times three. And if you're not going to harm anybody, then you're going to have good intent. But if you got a spell in mind where you're going to take and do some bad intent, then you're harming somebody. But let's just think about this. And it harm none. Do what you will. In your own words, and it harm none. I want you just to think about it. I want you to say this, to yourselves. Don't say it out loud, because, I don't want, some people don't want to have their voices aired on in the public, and a lot of people have to be cautious because of their job safety and stuff like this. So that's why I only have the camera on me, and that's why I only take and doing the talking myself. Later on, when we do some ritual work, the ones that give their permission for me to put them on the video, I will put them on video. But the ones that do not wish to be on video, I will not put you on video. All right. And it harm none. Okay, think about these words for a second. Think about the outcome of this. You know, say this to yourself over and over and over. And once you get more advanced into your spell work and you come up more advanced and you start doing spells daily, because you'll find out once you get hooked on spells, you want to take and do more spells and more spells and more spells. And you ask yourself, will it harm anyone? I have friends come to me and say, I'm in love with this person. Can you help me cast a spell to make this person love me? And I tell them, no, I won't. Because it might not be that person's will to be in love with you. I will help you find somebody that might be right for you. But I will not pick out a certain person and say, this is the one you're going to have. This is the one. This is the one. I'm not going to do that. I will help cast a spell for you to have love into your life. Okay? I think of my family especially, and I don't want any harm to come to my family, Because if I cast a spell and I say these words, and it harm none, do what you will, then if some harm comes back to me, it also comes back to my family, to my kids, to my partner. And I don't want to bring anything on my granddaughters or anything like this. And trust me, I have 5 beautiful granddaughters, and I don't want any bad intent to come to my 5 beautiful granddaughters. Okay, when you say, and it harm none, I want you to think about what I just said. Harm coming to no one. Not to a person that the spell is intended for. Not to their family. Not to your family. Something that it will harm no one. This is the basic rule of witchcraft. Our top number 1. And it harm none. Do what you will. Like I said earlier, I cast spells for people, not on the people. Okay? For them, not on them. And another thing that I would like to bring up to your attention is, like I said earlier, if you're casting a spell for someone to get a certain person, don't do it. Don't cast spells for anyone without their permission, because it could be something that they don't want. I got a brother that's not in love, and I want to find him somebody. You cast that spell for your brother or your sister who's not in love right now. Maybe it's the way they want to be right now. Maybe they want to be alone right now. But if you cast a spell for them and they're not looking for somebody, and you bring an evil witch into their lives, and you say, hey, you like her? You don't like him? Well, how's things going? Well, we don't do nothing but fuss and fight and argue all the time. That's not right. You brought some harm in there. So don't cast a spell without somebody's permission. We learned way back when we were taking physics in school, for every action there is an equal and an opposite reaction. Magic is the same way as this. There is an equal or an opposite reaction. So, if it harms no one, you can do it. You know, I want y'all to think about this and write this down in your book. Recite it every day. I know some of you are new to Wicca, witchcraft. I do not call myself a Wiccan. I call myself a witch. I am old school and I am a tradition witch. Back years ago on a TV show, they used to cross their nose, and a lot of you know the show that I'm talking about, and they would say, I'm a full-fledged, card-carrying, cauldron-stirring, broom-flying witch. Well, I am a full, true-blooded, folk, traditional witch. I was taught by my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother. Witchcraft has been in my blood for generations, and I hope it carries on through my generations. And I want nothing to come of harm to my generations. So that is your lesson for the day. Write it down, think about it, and before you do any magic, before you do any casting of your circles, before you cast any spells, think about it. If it harm no one, do what you will. Because it's not just harming you. It could be harming the person you're doing for, and it can harm your family. And it could bring things beyond what you would ever expect. Take this lesson for the day, and blessed be. So mote it be. Blessed.